Picture this. A woman stands 6 feet tall in a room full of Hollywood executives, and one by one, they tell her the same thing. Too tall. Too intimidating. Too much. Most people would have shrunk. Geena Davis did the opposite, and decades later, that rejection would quietly reshape the entire industry that tried to shut her out. Imagine being told you're too much of yourself for a role, over and over, until you start wondering if there's something wrong with simply existing at your full height, your full presence, your full self. That was Geena Davis's reality long before most viewers ever knew her name. She wasn't handed stardom. She fought her way into rooms that weren't built for her. What most people don't realize is that by the time Geena Davis became a household name, through Thelma and Louise, through A League of Their Own, through an Academy Award win, she had already absorbed years of being told her looks, her height, her voice were difficult for audiences to accept. And here's the twist nobody talks about. The very things Hollywood called flaws became the reason audiences fell in love with her. Her confidence read as magnetic. Her presence filled the screen instead of shrinking from it. But here's where the story gets interesting. At the peak of her fame, something strange happened. The roles started disappearing. Not because her talent faded, but because Hollywood, like clockwork, began treating a woman in her 40s as though she'd become invisible overnight. Viewers who grew up watching her dominate the screen suddenly found themselves asking, where did she go? The surprising part is what she did next. Instead of chasing relevance the way the industry expected, Geena Davis turned the camera around on Hollywood itself. She commissioned real data. Actual research on how women were represented in film and television. And what she found confirmed what audiences had felt for years, but couldn't quite name. Women, especially women past a certain age, were being erased from stories entirely. Not gradually. Systematically. That research became the foundation for one of the most quietly influential organizations in entertainment, one that has shaped how studios cast projects for over a decade. Think about that for a second. A woman who was once told she was too much ended up building the exact tool that forced an entire industry to confront its own bias. That's not a comeback story. That's a reckoning. And this is where it gets emotional, because if you strip away the red carpets and the headlines, this is really a story about identity. About what happens when the world keeps telling you to be smaller and you refuse. Social media today is full of comments from fans thanking her, not for a role, not for a movie moment, but for simply staying visible when visibility wasn't offered to her. That kind of gratitude doesn't happen by accident. It happens when someone represents a fight people recognize in their own lives. Because here's the truth underneath all of it. Most of us, at some point, have been told we're too much of something. Too loud. Too old. Too ambitious. Too visible. And the real question isn't whether the world will eventually make space for you. It's whether you'll keep showing up anyway, the way she did, until the world has no choice but to adjust. Geena Davis didn't just survive an industry that doubted her. She used that doubt as fuel to change the rules for the women who came after her. And maybe that's the part of her story that deserves more attention than any headline ever could. Not the fame, not the fashion, not the spotlight, but the quiet, stubborn refusal to disappear. So the next time you feel like you're being asked to shrink yourself to fit somebody else's comfort, remember her. Remember that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't fighting loudly. It's simply staying exactly as much as you are.